Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak for the year 2022. Before we proceed further, I would like to encourage those who wish to speak to indicate their interest in the chat box so that we can include you in the list of speakers. Permit me the indulgence of beginning with my welcoming remarks. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, religious dignitaries, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the President of the General Assembly, Excellencies, distinguished guests, my fellow Sri Lankans, and my brothers and sisters of our human family. Namo Buddhaya. It is my honor and humble privilege to welcome all of you today to the commemoration of the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing of one of the greatest human beings ever known to mankind. The Sakya Muni, as he was so titled, was so perfect that people believed he was divine and named Siddhartha Gautama as the Buddha, which means the perfectly enlightened one, who has seized all unwholesome acts based on greed, hatred, and illusion. My dear friends, the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing of the Buddha all took place on the night of the full moon in the month of Vesak, which corresponds to the full moon day in the month of May, in accordance with the Gregorian calendar. Vesak, as a festival, has come to mark the pinnacle of events in the Buddhist calendar and is celebrated by all Buddhists throughout the world. It is a time that signifies the triumph of good over evil, a time which compels us to seek peace within, to overcome our vexations, and serve as a reminder of our human frailties that requires us to seek solace from the teachings of the Enlightened One. The United Nations General Assembly adopted the Resolution 54/115 in 1999, declaring the international recognition of the Day of Vesak at the United Nations headquarters and other United Nations offices. It is in keeping with this resolution that we gather here today at a time when the world is seeking a respite from a multitude of challenges, ranging from the pandemic, climate change, development deficit, war, and global tensions. The planet today, my dear friends, is replete with fear and hope, fear of war and hostility, fear of confrontations amongst religions, ethnic and national groups. While we, as the United Nations and its member states, seek to find solutions extraneously by norm setting and international law, perhaps it is also worthwhile that we delve into the teachings of spiritual teachers such as the Buddha, who focused within and discovered pathways to create peaceful human beings. After all, my dear friends, without peace within us, finding peace outside our beings becomes elusive and difficult. Buddhism teaches us the avoidance of extremes of all sorts, the moderation in the consumption of the earth's resources that leads to sustainability, as well as economic and social justice, not only for ourselves, but for the future generations as well, for whom we hold these resources in trust. As the Dhammapada puts it so nicely, to quote it, as the bee derives honey from the flower without harming its color or fragrance, so should we interact, the Buddha says, with our surroundings. Permit me, therefore, my dear friends, to leave you with this thought and welcome all of you today to this celebration. I thank the ambassador of Thailand, our friend Surya Chandrawong, and the members of the Thai mission to the United Nations for this joint effort in making this commemoration a reality. May the blessings of the triple gem of Buddhism, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha be with you. Namo Buddhaya. I will now invite my co-host, Ambassador Surya Chindawang, the permanent representative of Thailand to the United Nations, to deliver his welcoming remarks. The floor is yours, Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venerable Monks, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. Good morning. And I'm pleased to welcome all of you, Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike, to this virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. It is my great honor to co-host this event with Ambassador Mohan Peiris and with the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka. It's regrettable that we cannot host this event in the General Assembly Hall once again this year, but I'm grateful that our commemoration on this virtual platform will enable us to reflect on the true significance of Vesak and the teachings of Lord Buddha. We should take this opportunity to express our high reverence and utmost gratitude to the venerable monks from all Buddhist communities, as well as our most sincere appreciation to our dear friends and colleagues of different faiths and beliefs who are here with us to mark this very important day for all Buddhists around the world. So Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on the day of Vesak, or in Thai we say Visakha, not only do we remember the birth, enlightenment, and passing of Lord Buddha, but we also reflect on his teachings and philosophies that remain relevant and continue to be a guiding light for humanity. We now live in a world full of fragilities stemming from pandemics to climate change, from conflicts to inequalities. Every day, we also learn with a heavy heart of growing inequity and discrimination, intolerance and violence across the globe, causing suffering to humankind. Therefore, we should heed Lord Buddha's Dhamma that shows us that the path of kindness, compassion, tolerance, sympathy, and accommodation towards others, regardless of their backgrounds. Buddhism teaches us that one's well-being depends on the well-being of all. Now, these timeless pearls of wisdom have provided an anchor for our work at the United Nations in advancing many ideas that resonate amongst peoples of all cultures, from sustaining sustainability to easing the suffering of humanity, from realizing peace to closing poverty gaps. And at a time of continuing crises and calamities confronting humanity, I firmly believe that global solidarity and cooperation based on mutual respect, shared understanding, and respect for diversity is needed more than ever before to help overcome humankind's common challenges. So I sincerely hope that this event will inspire all of us, both within and outside the United Nations, to reflect on our commitments and actions to bridge differences, embrace peaceful coexistence, and create a better future of humanity in which no one is left behind. Lastly, recalling Lord Buddha's wisdoms on karma, it all depends on each one of us to do our part and be responsible for it. Therefore, I humbly ask all of you to continue taking the right actions for the betterment of all fellow beings, as well as for the world where we live in. Thank you very much. This concludes my opening remarks, and I will now pursue on to the high-level segment with the permission of my dear co-host. To begin the high-level segment of this year's Vesak Day commemoration, I have the great honor to introduce a video message from His Excellency Mr. Abdullah Shahid, the President of the 76th session of the UN General Assembly on this auspicious occasion. Let's hear the video message.
Excellencies, dear friends, I'm immensely grateful for the invitation to join you in commemorating the Day of Vesak. I thank the permanent missions of Sri Lanka and Thailand for organizing it. Today, millions around the world mark this day, commemorating the life and legacy of the Enlightened One. He taught that we must always be mindful of our actions, draw upon our inner strength, and embrace the power of collective action. we would do well to heed these lessons as we confront today's challenges, from climate change to the pandemic to inequalities and conflict. As we chart a path of recovery from the pandemic and find solutions to ongoing conflicts, let us embrace the virtues he emphasized throughout his life. Virtues such as renouncing aggression and bitterness, cherishing friendliness and benevolence, and working towards the benefit and happiness of others. As its core, Vesak Day is about giving and sharing and recognizing the vulnerable and poor. Let this be an inspiration to honor our commitments to equality, whether with regard to ensuring equal access to vaccines or ending injustices against women and girls and other marginalized groups, including racial minorities. As we celebrate Vesak, let us be reminded of the inexhaustible lamp, a lamp that can light up hundreds and thousands of other lamps and bring about brightness that never fades. In emulation of that lamp, through our commitments and action, guided by the values of the United Nations Charter, let us light up a path of hope for the 8 billion constituents we serve. With those sentiments, I wish you all a happy Vesak Day.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Shahid, for the remarks. I now have the honor to introduce the video message from His Excellency Mr. Don Paramatvinai, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Thailand. Video message, please.
Venerable monks, President of General Assembly, Secretary General, Honorable Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, Excellencies and distinguished participants. I'm delighted and honored to be a part of this auspicious Vesak Day commemoration event. I wish to express my esteemed reverence to the venerable monks from different Buddhist communities present here today. My appreciation goes to the permanent mission of Sri Lanka for co-hosting the International Day of Vesak again this year with the permanent mission of Thailand. Vesak Day is the most sacred day to millions of Buddhists around the world. Today we reflect on the wisdom derived from the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Lord Buddha and the impermanence of all things. Most importantly, we are reminded of his noble teachings, Oda Dhamma, which remains relevant in addressing the global challenges that affect the world we are living in today. The heart of the Buddha Dhamma is the way to philosophically address sufferings, as the goal of easing suffering is universal. It resonates well with the work of the United Nations towards achieving freedom from fear and want. These days, however, humankind as a whole is living with greater anxiety and in immense misery. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the pandemic, climate change, growing inequality, and violent conflicts have impacted the mental and physical health of the entire human race in every corner of the world. In these times of great uncertainty and distress, Lord Buddha's teaching of selflessness, tolerance, mutual respect, and understanding, and most importantly, of compassion and loving kindness, could alleviate our pains and offer peace to people, both individually and collectively. The Buddhist philosophy and practice can complement the teachings of other great religions of the world and henceforth make the world a better and more peaceful place for humanity. For over 2,500 years, the Buddhist teachings have served as a compass for peace and non-violence. Dhamma shows us the way to coexist in harmony by teaching us to see other human beings as brothers and sisters, regardless of race, ethnicity, belief, and nationalities. When we develop and nurture empathy to put ourselves in other shoes, we are less likely to be angry, resentful, ignorant, and are not bent on revenge or inflict pains on those who view the world differently or those we consider our enemies. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the preamble of the United Nations Charter proclaims that I, quote, "We, the peoples of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has brought untold sorrow to mankind. We cannot allow this determination to fail. The timeless teachings of the Lord Buddha, which focus on beholding human dignity, promoting peace and nonviolence, and encouraging equality and inclusiveness, are clearly applicable to the raison d'etre of the United Nations. Let us take opportunity of Vesak Day to reaffirm our unwavering commitment and redouble our efforts to strengthen the objective rules-based multilateral system role in resolving many conflicts and violence around the world. Let us be resolute in generating greater mutual trust and respect among ourselves to attain a peaceful international environment and a better future for all. Thank you very kindly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand. Next, we will hear a message from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka.
Venerable members of the clergy, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The dawn of the full moon in the month of May marks the most auspicious event of the Buddhist calendar. The birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of Gautama, the Buddha, fell on this day in the month of May, or Vesak as it is known. Prince Siddhartha Gautama was born into nobility in the Sakya clan, whose kingdom was part of the Kosala Empire and situated currently in what constitutes the northern part of India and Nepal. Since the prophecies at the time of his birth said that he was going to either become a great emperor or a great spiritual teacher, his father ensured that his childhood had the maximum comforts a prince could pleasure his senses with. He trained in the princely arts that were necessary for Prince Siddhartha Gautama to become the great emperor that his father aspired for him. He was esteemed as a warrior at a young age when he won every discipline of combat against the brother of his bride-to-be, Yashodhara, with whom he bore his only son. However, as he grew older and ventured into society, the sight of old age, sickness, and death resulted in a process of contemplation, making ascetic life more meaningful to him. The would-be warrior and emperor on the battlefield sought victory in a very different battle. He ventured out from his princely abode in search of an answer to the greatest philosophical quest of his time: how to end rebirth, death, and suffering. His answer to the world contained the gist of his teachings, the Four Noble Truths: suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path to end suffering. The world today is engrossed in emancipating itself from a multitude of natural and man-made disasters that it is faced with. Climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Sustainable Development Agenda at risk, a multitude of international and intrastate conflicts, and a rise in xenophobia and intolerance being amongst the main elements in a combination of disasters facing the world today. The Buddha's solution was that answers to these questions will never be found without a transformation of the self, for at the root of all the world's evil lies greed, hatred, and ignorance of all living beings. It is these three factors that propel the many issues that are talked about in international forums: vaccine inequity, development deficit, hoarding of resources, mutual suspicion of each other and their intentions, and the all-pervading phenomenon of othering that leads to phenomena such as intolerance, racism, sectarianism, religious bigotry, xenophobia, and a multitude of ills of varying proportions and characteristics. The minimizing or even the elimination of greed, hatred, and ignorance in each one of us can contribute in no small measure to finding solutions based on mutual respect, peace, tolerance, trust, and humility. It is this message of the Lord Buddha that reverberates during this Vesak season that is significant not only to the Buddhist world but to the whole of humanity, and is of universal significance that members of the United Nations can take cognizance of in its deliberations on contemporary challenges. May the triple gem bless you.
I'd like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka for the message. I now have the honor to introduce the message by His Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations. Can we flash the written message on screen, please? As you can see, dear friends, it begins with sending warmest wishes to all celebrating the day of Vesak. The message also touches upon the multiplying crises that are affecting the world today and reminding how we have fallen away from Lord Buddha's timeless teachings. And it ends on this day of Vesak to call us to seize this moment of spiritual renewal and honor Buddha's wisdom by coming together as one in solidarity and shaping a better, more peaceful world for all people. So I thank the Secretary General of the United Nations for his written message, which was on the screen. And with this part, I now wish to pass the floor to my senior brother and co-host, Ambassador Pieris, to introduce the religious blessings for this occasion.
Thank you, Ambassador. On this auspicious day of celebrating the International Day of Vesak, allow me to humbly request the Venerable Mahasangha to conduct religious blessings according to the Theravada tradition, followed by the invocation of blessings according to the Mahayana tradition. For the Theravada tradition, we are honored to have with us to bless us and the blessing to be performed by the Venerable Hinbunne Kondanda Thera of the Staten Island Buddhist Vihara, a prominent Sri Lankan temple in New York. For the Mahayana tradition, we are honored to have blessings from Reverend Nakagaki, Venerable Ming Yu, and Venerable Gikwang. May I now present to you the blessings in the Theravada tradition. Could we have it flashed on the screen? Thank you.
Very happy Vesak Day. At this time around the world, in Buddhist countries, especially Theravada Buddhist countries, people celebrate Buddha's triple events of Buddha's life. That is birth, enlightenment, and passing away of the Buddha. Buddha's birth brought blessing to the world. So we wish all beings, all of you and all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha be with all of you. So wishing so, we like to chant the sutras of Metta Sutta to bless upon all of you, all beings. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Karaniya matta kusalena yantam santam padam abhisamecca sakko ujuca sujuca suvaco cassa muduanatimani santussa koca subharoca appakiccoca sallavukavatti santimbriyoca nipakoca appagabbo kulesu ananukitto nacaku Buddhang samacare kinciyena vinyu pare upadeyung sukhino vakemino huntu sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta yeke cipana bhutatti tasava thavarava anavasesa digava ye mahantava majjima rassakanu Tula dittava eva additta ye cedure vasanti avidure bhutava sambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta na paro parannikubbeta nati manyeta katta chinam kanchi vyarosana patiga samyananya manyassa dukkha micceya mata yata niyam puttang ayusa eka putta manurakhe devampi sabba bhutesu mana sambhavaye aparimanam mentam ca sabba lokasmin mana sambhavaye aparimanam uddang adoca diriyam ca asambadam averang asapattang tittang charang nisinno asayano yavatassa vikatamiddo etam sating aditteya brahmametam viharang idamahuditting ca anupadhamma silava dassanena sampanno kamesu vineyyagetam naijatu gabba seriyam punareti tena sacca vajjena sabba dukkham vinassatu etena sacca vajjena sabba bhayam vinassatu etena sacca vajjena sabba rogo vinassatu. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak and strong, long, large, or medium or short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will, should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, or sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Hello everyone, happy Vesak Day. My name is Reverend Dr. T.K. Nakagaki. I'm representing Japanese Buddhist tradition in Mahayana Buddhism. Thank you. Namu Kiemutsu Namu Kieho Namu Kieso. I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. Namo.
归佛归法归僧，归佛归法归僧，归佛归法归僧。
우쇼 후매주 그저 후저 후겐제고 그저 무지기 무주 소교 시기 무겐이 비제신예 무지기 조고 미소그 호무겐가이 나이지 무이시기가 무무묘 야그무무묘 진나이지 물로지 야그물로시제 무그슈 마즈도 무지 야그무도그 이무쇼도고 보다이샤타 에한야할라미다 고심무게게 무게게고 무워그 온리사이덴
究竟涅槃30诸佛，一般若波罗蜜多故，得阿耨多罗三藐三菩提，不知般若波罗蜜多，是大神咒，是大明咒，是无上咒，是无等等咒，能除一切苦，真实不虚，不说般若波罗蜜多咒，即说咒曰：揭谛揭谛，波罗揭谛，波罗僧揭谛，菩提所婆诃。
주요무엔세간도 본노무슈세간담 오문무진세간가그 무츠도 무조세간조 나와.
Thank you very much. I now have the honor to introduce two video sermons by the distinguished Venerable Ajahn Kewali Wat Pa Nanachat in Thailand and the most Venerable Alukamma Thamachot Thero of the New York Buddhist Vihan and President of New York Buddhist Vihan Foundation. Can we have the video sermon, please?
Today, all of us have gathered in commemoration of the life of the Buddha's birth, the Buddha's full awakening or enlightenment, and the Buddha's final passing away. This is a very auspicious occasion for so many people who take the life of the Buddha as an example for their own life all over the world, in unity with a sense of venerating a truly wise person. And the Buddha, he was self-awakened. He was somebody who endeavored to really look at the truths of nature and see what's behind old age, sickness and death and the suffering that comes from unwholesome ways of thinking, unwholesome ways of attaching to things. The Buddha taught in many ways to be a friend to each other, to be tolerant, to develop loving kindness. And the training in the Buddha's teachings is very much grounded in understanding one's own mind, understanding the nature of one's own mind, developing qualities of wisdom and compassion. Life in a very simple and pure way is an underlying quality of the Buddha's teaching, an underlying feature of like the things that we can learn from presently in this day and age, where we are many times bound up with technology, many times bound up with a life that is seeking quick pleasures and superficial happiness in consumption, and we overlook the facts that all these things are actually of transient nature. This is something that the Buddha was emphasizing, that life is constantly changing, and in fact the quest for his enlightenment, his search for enlightenment, came through contemplating old age, sickness and death. And these days we live in such a challenging situation with environmental problems, with aggression and war taking place, that this feeling of seeing suffering and overcoming suffering through one's own inner peace becomes more and more important. So the Buddha was born under the trees, was enlightened under the trees, and finally passed away under the trees. If we can learn from nature and have the clarity and the serenity of looking into the nature of our own experience, then we will rise up to the wisdom of the enlightened qualities that the Buddha has lived for us. And we'll be able to emulate his example by a life of simplicity, harmony, friendship, and abandon all the aggression, the sense of selfishness, and the delusion where we think in very superficial ways. These days, in a life bound up with technology and many modern human developments, we have to be very careful to keep ourselves grounded and also have time to look at what is happening in ourselves and around us in a very unbiased way. The Buddha's teachings of mindfulness, meditation, and the development of wholesome qualities, something I wish for all of us to realize bit by bit through a gradual awakening in our own way, in our own life, in the situation that we live in, coming from many different countries, seeing the universal truths in a similar way that the Buddha discovered many centuries ago, is crucial for this day and age, where we're challenged by many problems around the world. May we always have a sense of inner peace, reverting to our inner purity, the quality of mindfulness, and our wholesome way of relating to others with loving kindness, sympathy, forgiveness, and a mind that is filled with peace. This is something I truly wish on Visakha Puja for all of us to develop bit by bit. So I offer that for our reflection on this auspicious occasion.
Venerable members of the Mahasangha, distinguished guests, and dear friends of the Dhamma, first of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks toward the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to give a brief talk connection with the Vesak ceremony. We Buddhists follow the Buddha's teaching. Always Buddha wanted to teach us the correct path, the way to live happily and peacefully. When we live in this society, in daily basis, we are facing various kind of problems. According to the Buddha's teaching, we can find out the solution for any kind of problems. First of all, what we have to do is to realize the nature of our mind, or state of our mind, which brings us all sort of problems, both mental and also physical. We need to understand the root cause of problems, cure of the problems, and the path to end of the problems. The Buddha guides us to realize these 4 facts. The first step is to build a good character within ourselves. We have to refrain from wrong deeds, wrong speech, and wrong way of earning our living. This is the foundation we have to set, on which we have to erect the building of spiritual development, which consists of 2 kinds of development. Development of mind's calmness and the development of insight. To develop our mind, we have to practice and develop meditation. By developing meditation, we can understand what is the right and what is the wrong. And also we can see things truly their nature. And also we can gradually reduce our main defilements: greediness, hatred, and delusion. By practicing meditation, by developing our mind, we can reduce those defilements. These defilements are the main root cause of all problems, calamities, troubles, and so forth. When we have more and more greediness, hatred, or delusion, then definitely there will be lot of problems, more and more. Today, all over the world, lot of problems, fightings are going on. Why? Because those people, they do not care about the human quality. They do not have compassion or loving kindness. Their good human quality is covered with defilements. We must understand how wonderful and how valuable these human lives are. You see, in this universe, there are 31 groups of living beings. Among all these living beings, like Devas, divine beings, Brahma, animal or birds, and human beings. But human beings are the greatest living beings among all of them, because they can develop their mind by themselves, and also they have good humane qualities. So as human beings, we have to develop our spiritual values. Otherwise, it is impossible for us to distinguish human beings and also other living beings. There is a saying, ආහාර නිද්‍රා බය මෛතුනංච සාමාන්‍ය මේතः පසුබික් සමානः. Eating, sleeping, sex, survive. These four things are very common in every living being. If human beings spend their lives only for eating, sleeping, experiencing sexual and also surviving, but we cannot see the difference. So dear friends of the Dhamma, that's why human beings follow and practice religion. Religion or Dharma shows us the correct path and also the way to live happily and peacefully, to develop our human qualities. And so, dear friends of the Dhamma, try your best to develop mindfulness, compassion, and loving kindness. Pervade loving kindness toward all living beings without expecting anything in return. Finally, dear friends, I would like to bless all of you by the power of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. May you be well, happy, and peace. May you have courage, patience, understanding, and determination to overcome any kind of problems in your life. And may you attain ultimate peace. May peace prevail onto the earth. Thank you.
May I thank the Venerable Ajahn and the Venerable Dhamajyoti for the spiritual nourishment that they provided us in those short discourses. Thank you.
Sri Lanka is a country that has accepted the Theravada Buddhist philosophy of Lord Buddha. Vesak is a religious and national festival which is significant to the Sri Lankans. This festival commemorates the birth, enlightenment, and extension of Lord Buddha. This year, the 2566th Vesak Festival is being celebrated. As a custom, Buddhists in Sri Lanka go to the temples in the dawn of the Vesak day and spend time observing Atasil, which is observing precepts in Buddhism, or at least performing rituals and rites. Giving alms and helping the needy are also common during this time. When the full moon evening approaches, the Vesak celebrations commence with the lighting of Vesak lanterns and lamps. According to Buddhists, Jataka Katha are stories which Lord Buddha preached and did in his past lives. People create Vesak pantheons, lanterns, and Vesak creations associated with Jataka stories and display them in public places for religious enjoyment. These Vesak creations are being created by the Buddhists with the help of their family members and friends. Vesak lanterns are being created by using bamboo sticks and saw papers, that is colored tissue papers, and lamps are usually lit using coconut oil and wicks. Today, Vesak creations are further beautified by bulbs and electricity. Buddhist devotional songs are also special on Vesak Day. Devotional songs, which are believed to have been inspired by Christian carols, are sung to pay respect to the virtues of Lord Buddha and to worship the Lord Buddha. At present, the Vesak Festival is being brought to the people using television and radio. Furthermore, exchanging wishes, ideas, thoughts, and celebrations of Vesak is a trend that can be seen today through social media as well.
Vesak Day, which falls on the full moon day in the month of May, is regarded as the most sacred day for the Buddhists in Thailand. The Buddhists in this country organize activities to celebrate the Vesak Day in two ceremonies. Number one is royal ceremony led by His Majesty King Vajiralongkorn of Thailand. His Majesty normally goes to the temple of the Emerald Buddha to perform ceremonies such as chanting and walking in candlelit procession. The other activity performed by people around the country, encouraged by the Supreme Sangha Council of Thailand, that all the temples open their temple ground for lay people to come to celebrate Vesak together, perform religious activities like listening to sermons, offering dana, and the most important of it is to walk around the Buddha hall with incense stick and candles in their hands to pay homage to the Buddha. The Thai government announced that Vesak Day is National Tree Day, inviting Thai people to express their gratitude to nature by planting trees. Since the international recognition of the Day of Vesak, granted by the United Nations in 1999, the Thai government and the Supreme Sangha Council of Thailand invited the Buddhist leaders and national leaders in Asia and the Pacific countries to come to Thailand to celebrate Vesak together at the headquarters of UNESCAP at Ratchadamnern, Bangkok. The main theme of this.
Thank you very much, dear friends, and we will now open the floor for statements, beginning with those who have indicated their wishes to speak prior to today, and those who wish to speak but have not described can do so during the chat box. And I myself and my senior brother and co-host will alternate in terms of inviting you to speak, 5 speakers each. The first 5 speakers we have are from Nepal, India, Vietnam, China, and Cambodia. I now have the honor to invite Ambassador Amrit, permanent representative of Nepal. Nepal is the birthplace of the Lord Buddha. So Ambassador Amrit, you have the floor.
Thank you, co-chair. Thank you, Surya. Venerable monks, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking the permanent missions of Sri Lanka and Thailand for organizing this solemn event to commemorate Vesak Day. This celebration is beyond any faith and religion. And this is about the principles of coexistence, tolerance, harmony, and peace that the entire human society cherishes. And this is also about those very principles the United Nations was founded on. Prince Siddhartha Gautam was born in the Sakya royal family of Lumbini, which is now in Kapilvastu district of Nepal. At the age of 29, Prince Siddhartha left the luxury of palace in the hope of discovering the root causes of human suffering and the ways of its cessation. He attained enlightenment, nirvana, at the age of 35 and became Gautam Buddha. Buddha discovered not only the root causes of human suffering, but also the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Pathways to attain the eternal peace and happiness in life and thereby in society as a whole. Today, despite an astounding amount of wealth and property, human suffering and distress are prevalent in society. Further, the world currently is bearing the worst suffering inflicted by COVID-19 pandemic. The impacts of climate change have made us all the most vulnerable in history, and violence, hatred, extremism, and terrorism are on the upsurge. War is taking place. Against such a predicament, Buddha's path of empathy, tolerance, and understanding are bedrocks to resolve differences amicably and to live in harmony. Being the birthplace of Lord Buddha, Nepal's culture has embedded the values of Buddha's teachings, and Nepali society has deep faith in tolerance, coexistence, and peace. And it is with this value we live in harmony by respecting and relishing the diversity in our Nepali society. And Nepal has made tremendous effort to protect and preserve the archaeological site of the palace and surrounding areas of Lumbini, the birthplace of Prince Siddhartha Gautam, as the fountain of Buddhism and world peace forever. And Nepal had just completed the construction of an international airport in Lumbini, which will provide direct international air connection for the people from outside world to the sacred birthplace of Lord Buddha. And similarly, Nepal has established Lumbini Buddhist University with a noble mission to provide higher education through the application of core Buddhist values and to promote world peace. And this year, the Prime Minister of Nepal and the visiting Prime Minister of India will have a special Vesak Day ceremony in Lumbini. And I'd like to conclude with Buddha's words, Apo Dibo Bhava, meaning be a lamp unto yourself. With the teaching, he asked us to discover our inner self with the help of pathways he had provided us. May this Vesak Day inspire us all to delve into the path of peace for the attainment of harmonious and peaceful world. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ambassador Amrit, for your words. Now we move to India, which is the place where the Lord Buddha achieved enlightenment and passed away. So I'd like to invite Ambassador Thirumoorthy, please.
Most venerable monks, excellencies, distinguished colleagues and friends, Namo Buddhaya. And I thank my esteemed colleagues, the permanent representatives of Sri Lanka and Thailand, for their noble initiative in bringing us together to celebrate this annual event in New York. I'm honored to join you all. Vesak is the day for humanity to revere the birth, the enlightenment, and the parinirvana of Lord Buddha. A day to reflect on the supreme truth and timeless relevance of Dhamma and the Four Noble Truths. Vesak continues to be an occasion to reaffirm and strengthen the cultural and civilizational ties that bind the nations of our region. Buddhism has played a major role in our composite culture and pluralism. It is a day of enormous significance for us in India and for Buddhists around the world. Friends, our region is blessed to have given to the world the invaluable gift of the Buddha and his teachings. Bodh Gaya in India, where Prince Siddhartha became the Buddha, is the sacred nucleus of the Buddhist universe. Lord Buddha's first sermon in Varanasi set in motion the wheels of Dhamma. In fact, the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, will soon visit Lumbini in Nepal, the birthplace of Buddha, on the day of Vesak to celebrate our shared Buddhist heritage. Buddhism and its various strands are deep-rooted in our governance, culture, and philosophy. Our key national symbols have taken inspiration from Buddhism. Buddhism spread from India to all corners of the globe. Vesak is an occasion for us to celebrate this unbroken shared heritage of Buddhism. Friends, Lord Buddha taught us compassion and welfare of all. As the world tries to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, these are required all the more, especially to stand firm against the forces of terror and radicalization. At a personal level, I consider myself blessed that in my career, I have been able to oversee the making and gifting by India of the replica of the Buddha of Sarnath to Sri Lanka, and also assist in erecting the replica of the 1st century Torana gate of the Sanchi Stupa in Malaysia, and in India's renovation of priceless Buddhist heritage sites in Myanmar and many parts of the world. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite Ambassador Jiang from Vietnam. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Surya, and thank you, Mohan, for bringing us together for this celebration. Venerable monks, excellencies, let me extend our warm congratulations to all venerable monks present here today and Buddhist Sangha and followers all over the world on the International Day of Vesak. Buddha philosophy of peace, compassion, harmony, and welfare for all is more relevant today than ever before, especially when the world is now confronted with multiple and unprecedented challenges and crises. We have seen so much human suffering from war, conflict, poverty, inequality, climate change, and environmental degradation and the COVID-19 pandemic. To end those sufferings and bring peace, I believe each and every one of us might consider Buddha's philosophy as an ethical compass for our action. With that in mind, we can deprive war and suffering from ourselves and fill in our hearts with peace, compassion, kindness, and joy. Our well-known Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh has said, working for peace in the future is to work for peace in the present moment. It is true that peace is a precondition for sustainable and inclusive development. To that end, we need to work together to promote dialogue, harmony, and justice based on compassion and wisdom. We need to create a more positive environment for peace by agreeing to work together to uphold the ideas of Lord Buddha and promote values of peace, inclusiveness, and compassion in the policy making and conduct the global community. Only by working together for the sake of the entire humanity, we are the true followers of Buddha. Let's keep this spirit moving forward and bringing Nirvana to real life. I thank you and happy Vesak celebration to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jiang, for your words. I now have the honor to invite Ambassador Jun from China. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much, Surya, dear Mohan, dear Surya, dear colleagues. On the festive occasion of the International Day of Vesak, please allow me to extend my warmest congratulations and the best wishes to you and through you to the all the Buddhist followers and all the people of Sri Lanka, Thailand, and other countries which are also celebrating Vesak. Yes, indeed, you know, Vesak is also celebrated in China in one way or another. As you all know, that Buddhism is an important religion in China. We have a large Buddha community or society in China. The Chinese Buddha society maintains very close cooperation with the Buddha societies of Sri Lanka, Thailand, and other Asian countries. such exchanges facilitates the friendship, the cooperation, and the general relations of our peoples and our countries. Buddhism is a very important part of the Chinese culture and the Chinese civilization. And as some other colleagues said, that the core value of Buddhism is very much aligned with the principles of the UN Charter. We are living in a very challenging world today, which is full of uncertainties. It's a time calls for harmony, calls for peace, calls for trust. Sincerely, we hope that through the celebration of today and the celebration of all over the world, we are able to understand each other better. We are able to trust each other better. And with that, we can realize further that the world is a family and we have a shared future. And with that in mind, we do need to work more closely with each other to make the world a better place for all the people all over the world. For that purpose, China definitely will will spare no effort in working with all colleagues here in New York, making sure that the world is more prosperous, is more harmonious, and more peaceful. Thank you. Thank you for organizing this very, very important celebration.
Thank you very much, Jun, for your kind words. Next, Cambodia is the ASEAN chair for this year, so I'll be honored to invite Thitharun Mao from Cambodia. You have the floor.
Thank you. Venerable Monks, Excellency, distinguished guests. To begin, I would like to express my profound thanks to Ambassador Surya Chandavong, Permanent Representative of Thailand, and Ambassador Mohad Paris, Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka, for their leadership and commitment in co-organizing this virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak today. On this auspicious occasion, we are immensely grateful to the Venerable Monks for chanting their blessing and giving their teaching. And we also acknowledge the Vesak message delivered by the President of the General Assembly, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and other honorable and distinguished guests. No matter what religion you follow or what culture you have been born into and brought up, the teaching of Sakyamuni Buddha, the historical founder of Buddhism, have the strength to awaken people to reality and make them examine their own thought and feeling. The teaching of Buddha became a great civilizing force wherever they went. It appeared to reason and freedom of thought, recognizing the dignity and potentiality of human mind. It called for equality, fraternity, understanding, peace, tolerance, and nonviolence, which may be verified by all irrespective of caste, color, and creed. As a Buddhist country, Cambodian mark Vesak Day as one of the most important public holiday and celebrate it every year. This year, Cambodian Buddhists, about 95%, will celebrate Vesak on May 15 at Phnom Penh Ridge Drop, which is located about 45 kilometers from the capital of Phnom Penh. The whole neighborhoods will be decorated and lit with colorful lanterns depicting the birth, enlightenment, and nirvana of the Buddha as a homage to the Buddha who illuminated the world by teaching the noble truth to attain enlightenment. The message of Lord Buddha, peace, compassion, love for all living beings, motivate us to open our hearts and embrace all members of our families. Buddhism does believe that world peace can only be achieved if we first establish peace within our mind. As a Buddhist, I believe that love of peace and tolerance will prevail if these core values are practiced and could assist government and the international community in developing peaceful coexistence within the human world. Given the state of the world that we are facing today, my delegation hopes that Lord Buddha preaching will bring peace and tolerance across the world. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that the doctrine of ahimsa, which is universal love and compassion, should reign in our hearts. May I wish everyone a happy Vesak Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your well wishes. I now give the virtual gavel, so to speak, to my senior brother and co-host to introduce the next 5 speakers, please. You're still muted, co-host?
Right. I'm unmuted now. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador. May I have the honor to invite the delegation of Singapore, led by His Excellency Buhan Gafur, to make his intervention. Thank you, Ambassador. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mohan, most venerable monks, distinguished co-hosts, excellencies, and dear friends. I'd like to extend Singapore's warmest wishes of goodwill to all our Buddhist friends on this commemoration of International Day of Vesak. And I'd also like to express my appreciation to Ambassador Mohan Peiris of Sri Lanka and Ambassador Surya Chindawong of Thailand for co-hosting and convening today's very, very important and meaningful event. Today we gather to honor the birth, enlightenment, and passing into nirvana of Lord Gautama Buddha. His messages of peace, non-violence, harmony, tolerance, and compassion to all human beings are timeless, even after 2.5 millennia. In fact, these values, I would say, are even more relevant and crucial today amidst the continuing challenges we are facing in the world, including the effects from the pandemic, deepening inequalities around the world, and wars and conflicts in different parts of the world. We should look to these universal values of Lord Gautama Buddha in working to overcome these challenges for a better future. Dear friends, this sacred day is observed as a very important religious day in Singapore. The Buddhist community is the largest religious group in Singapore's multiracial and multi-religious population, forming more than 1/3 of Singapore's resident population. Now, in line with Lord Gautama Buddha's teaching of compassion and service to others, the Buddhist community in Singapore has made important contributions to our nation, particularly in demonstrating generosity towards and acceptance of followers of all faiths. The community's numerous acts of benevolence towards their fellow Singaporeans, regardless of race, language, or religion, have strengthened inter-religious harmony in Singapore. And Buddhist leaders in Singapore have played a particularly important role in developing and strengthening our interfaith network. And these important contributions by the Buddhist community have enhanced community bonding, social cohesion, and interfaith understanding in Singapore. And with mutual respect and understanding, people of different religions live harmoniously as one people in Singapore. As we celebrate the International Day of Vesak, it is timely for us to reflect on the values espoused by Lord Gautama Buddha. In essence, the teaching of Lord Gautama Buddha is about leaving no one behind. And as an international community, we have to reflect on these important values. We have to be compassionate and to help the less fortunate among us, especially as we work collectively to tackle the immense challenges created by the pandemic and to strengthen our efforts towards the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. On this very important day, it is my hope we can overcome our divisions and focus on what unites us as members of one human family. I wish all of you, my dear friends, a peaceful and blessed Vesak Day. Thank you very much, co-chairs.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Burhan Ghafoor, for those very valuable inputs. May I now call upon Her Excellency Doma Shering, the permanent representative of Bhutan, to present her intervention. The floor is yours, Ambassador.
Venerable members of the Sangha, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is my honor to convey the warm greetings of His Majesty the King of Bhutan, as well as the good wishes of the royal government and the Bhutanese people as we commemorate the International Day of Vesak at the United Nations. I thank Ambassador Perez of Sri Lanka and Ambassador Chindawangsi of Thailand for leading the UN family in marking this important occasion. As the world's last remaining Vajrayana Buddhist country, Buddhism and the noble teachings of the Buddha have had an indelible influence on the cultural identity of Bhutan, permeating nearly all aspects of our daily lives. Today, while Bhutan is predominantly a Buddhist country, our constitution enshrines the freedom of religion, guaranteeing that Bhutanese of all faiths continue to flourish in the spirit of tolerance, mutual understanding, and harmony. In keeping with the Bhutanese lunar calendar, we observe Vesak, popularly referred to as Lord Buddha's Parinirvana, and Duchen Ngazom on 14th June this year in Bhutan. The day provides individuals and families with time to engage in prayer, to make offerings in homage of Buddha's life and teachings, and to reflect on the virtues of wisdom, courage, and compassion. It is a time for practitioners to show reverence for the three great occurrences in the life of Siddhartha Gautama, namely his birth, attainment of enlightenment, and passing into Mahaparinirvana. The auspicious day also coincides with Lord Buddha's conception and the subduing of evil. Vesak reminds us of the importance of the Buddha's universal messages of peace, compassion, mindfulness, and tolerance. Buddha's teachings have provided much needed comfort to the Bhutanese people and to Buddhists the world over. Today, in times of crisis and uncertainty, the essence of Buddha's teachings, which find strong resonance in the UN Charter, remain ever more relevant in our broader interactions with the rest of humanity, and indeed with all sentient beings. We hope that Lord Buddha's universal messages may offer inspiration to people of all faiths as we work together in the spirit of compassion and solidarity to overcome current challenges towards a more peaceful, inclusive, resilient, and harmonious future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Doma, for that wonderful intervention. May I now call upon His Excellency, the Permanent Representative of Myanmar, Khaomo Tun, to make his observations. The floor is yours, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mohan. Venerable Mahasangha, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Minglawa. At the outset, I would like to extend my sincere appreciations to Ambassador Mohan, Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka, and Ambassador Surya, Permanent Representative of Thailand, and their team for convening and co-hosting today's auspicious event, a virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. I am thankful towards your mission's relentless effort to holding this auspicious occasion every year, particularly for Buddhists as well as non-Buddhists and the general public. I would also like to express my special thanks to the venerable monks for their prayers and remarkable Dhamma sermons. Indeed, at this very critical juncture, where the world is facing multiple challenges from COVID pandemic to peace and stability, political, economic, and social challenges, listening to religious blessings of the Lord Buddha is truly heartwarming and help to calm our minds. The Vesak commemorates both the enlightenment and the passing to Nirvana of Buddha, His teaching taught us the Four Noble Truths and to utilize them in our life journey. The truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, truth of the end of suffering, truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. They are so relevant to our daily life, and it is important to be mindful of this in order to avoid love, greed, daughter, anger, moha, ignorance. As for Myanmar people, we have always celebrated this auspicious day every year to the fullest by doing different kinds of good deeds, especially pouring water to the Bodhi tree. But we are not able to do so as usual since last year. However, we Buddhists have believed in the enlightenment of the Lord Buddha, and we are strongly encouraged to absorb metta, loving kindness, guna, compassion, mudita, gladness at other success, upekha, equanimity in our daily lives. As such, I wish to take this opportunity to encourage everyone present to continue our good practices so that sustainable peace could prevail all over the country, including in Myanmar. Last but not least, I wish all members of the international community good health and happiness and happy Vesak Day. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I thank you.
I thank you, Ambassador Toon, for those very short interventions that were so effective. May I now call upon the Deputy Permanent Representative of Indonesia, Ambassador Nasir, to make his observations. Your floor is yours, Ambassador.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to wish all of us a happy and peaceful observance of the Vesak Day 2022. I would like to thank the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka and the Permanent Mission of Thailand for organizing this virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. I would also like to thank the President of the General Assembly, the Deputy Prime Minister, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka for their remarks. Vesak Day indeed is a special moment for us to reflect on the Lord Buddha's teaching on peace, patience, compassion, humility, and wisdom. These values are what our world needs today, and the International Day of Vesak holds a particularly important role to promote those values. It is in these times that these values are crucially needed. The time when the world is facing various challenges that are more complex than ever, conflicts, disasters, famine, and many other challenges to the humanity. The journey of Buddha's life himself was full of obstacles, from a life of nobility to a life of self-awareness and awakening. And through his life, we find the evidence of the good virtues from his perseverance and patience. Therefore, we must also reflect on this and continue to pursue the good virtues that has been taught to us. Excellencies, the observance of Vesak Day to Indonesia every year is also a vital moment that reminds us of the importance of harmonious living. It is essential for Indonesia, a country with 270 million people, consisting of hundreds of ethnic groups with rich multicultural backgrounds. And in Indonesia, the Vesak Day is designated as one of our national holidays, where all Indonesians observe the day together with the 1.5 million Buddhists in Indonesia. Finally, Excellencies, in line with Indonesia's belief on the importance of tolerance, I wish to express our commitment in supporting every effort that aims to promote peace all across the world, including to the convening of the International Day of Vesak. Happy Vesak Day. May all beings be happy and secure. may they be happy-minded. Thank you.
Ambassador Koba, I thank you very much for those observations, and we treasure them very much. Thank you. May I now call upon the Deputy Permanent Representative of Bangladesh to make his observations. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Venerable monks, excellencies. I thank you, Ambassador Mohan and Ambassador Surya, for having us at this special celebration of the International Day of Vesak here at the UN. My PR, Ambassador Rava Fatima, has been called to another meeting. So allow me to convey her message on this special occasion. The teachings of Lord Buddha are universal in their appeal, and today it assumes renewed relevance and meaning as our global community confronts multiple challenges, threatening peace and harmony. Historical records show that Buddhism, which spread from the Indian subcontinent, also flourished in the present-day Bangladesh as early as in 3rd century BC. It had a profound influence on the social, cultural, and intellectual lives of our people. The largest Buddhist monastery, or Bihara, on the south of Himalayas was actually located on the northern part of Bangladesh. We call it Paharpur Buddha Bihar. We also host some other ancient Buddhist monasteries. Vesak Day is observed in Bangladesh as Buddha Purnima. It is a national holiday and the biggest religious festival of our Buddhist community. The observance of the day is marked by the spontaneous participation of people of all faiths, which is a clear manifestation of the religious harmony that exists in our diverse society. In today's restive and divisive world, what we need to do is to build bridges to unite our societies and communities and promote dialogue for better understanding and tolerance. And today, more than ever, Lord Buddha's message of peace and harmony bears special significance. Let us embrace his teaching of peace and humanity. Let Vesak Day be the solemn occasion for us at the UN to join hands and collectively resolve yet again to rise above all narrowness and make this world a really peaceful place. Let there be peace for all of us. I thank you all.
Thank you very much for those remarks. Very much appreciated. I will now, the next 5 speakers, we will have the permanent representative of Egypt, and then the deputy permanent representatives of Pakistan, Japan, the Philippines, and then the Republic of Korea. So these are the next 5 speakers. So I have the great honor to invite His Excellency Ambassador Osama Abdul Khalib of Egypt. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, my distinguished friend and colleague. I'm really very grateful for your good self, Ambassador Surya and Ambassador Mohan, for inviting us for this very important commemorative day. Happy International Vesak Day for all of you. I wanted to add my voice so that you would not only be celebrating in Asia in particular, I mean, coming from Africa and the Middle East as well. I wanted to wish you all the best in that great day and to say that what Lord Buddha had brought to humanity deserves all credit and to be cherished. What has been added to humanity is really formidable and deserves all a celebration and fully respected far away elsewhere in the globe, in Africa and in the Middle East. I wish all of you a happy Vesak Day, to my dear friend Ambassador Tiro and all the distinguished colleagues in Asia who are celebrating that very great day. This is what I wanted to say in brief, that we're proud of what Lord Buddha had brought to humanity, that harmony with nature, peace of mind and peacefulness and so on. Now more than ever around the globe, we need to remind ourselves of all those noble teachings and values and so on. We highly value that as well in the Arab world, in Africa and we celebrate as well with you. Thank you very much for availing me that opportunity. I'll be brief just to avail an opportunity for everyone to speak. Thank you very much, Ambassador Surya and distinguished colleagues.
Thank you very much, Osama, for your very kind words, not only on Lord Buddha's principles and wisdom, but also, coming from a little bit further away from Asia, but with those kind words, you've actually brought us even closer together. So thank you very much, Brother Osama, for your kind words. I now have the honor to invite Mohammed Amir Khan, the DPR of Pakistan. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador Chingawong and Ambassador Perez, for organizing today's meeting. I wish to extend my congratulations to all of you on celebrating Vesak Day. The sacred day of Vesak offers an opportunity to reflect on the timeless wisdom of Gautam Buddha. It is indeed a day to commemorate his teachings of peace, compassion, humility, and wisdom, which are more relevant today as they were 25,000 years ago. Born a prince, he rose above self-interest and went into the world to help overcome human suffering. The central teachings of Buddha on the fundamental equality of all people, regardless of status or circumstances or characteristics, are fully aligned with the principles and purposes of the UN Charter. His core message remains that of tolerance, empathy, and compassion. These are virtues that can serve as an inspiration to us all as we continue to confront the triple crisis of COVID-19, climate change, and new and old unresolved conflicts. Lord Buddha also taught us the four sublime states, which are kindness or metta, compassion or karuna, sympathetic joy or mudita, and equanimity or upekha. In other words, we should learn to live peacefully, to sympathize, to share, to help, to forgive, to love, and to bring joy and happiness to others. Peace, understanding, and a vision of humanity that supersedes national and other international differences are essential if we are to cope with the complexities of our times. These are virtues that can serve as an inspiration to us all, particularly at the United Nations, where we strive each day to build a world of inclusive peace, mutual respect, and understanding. So on this day of Vesak, let us renew our commitment to stand together as one humanity, show kindness and compassion to the most vulnerable, and truly leave no one behind as we face those turbulent and difficult times together. Happy Vesak Day. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mohammed, for your kind words on this International Day of Vesak. I have now the honor to invite Ambassador Takeshi Osuka, DPR of Japan. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Venerable Monks, Excellencies. I'm honored to speak to commemorate the Vesak Day commemoration. I thank the permanent missions of Thailand and Sri Lanka for organizing this event. In Japan, Buddhist temples all over the country hold every year flower festivals to celebrate the birth of the Lord Buddha. The first flower festival in Japan was held in the year 606, after Buddhism was introduced to Japan in the mid-6th century. The day of Vesak reminds us of the Buddhist teachings and its spirit, including tolerance, harmony, and compassion. Humanity continues to suffer from various threats to human security, threats to the survival, livelihood, and dignity of people. Violence and conflicts only bring death, destruction, and hatred. According to the way of truth, Dhammapada, all tremble at violence. Life is dear to all. Putting oneself in the place of another, one should not kill nor cause another to kill. I think the United Nations and its member states have a lot to learn from Buddhism. To conclude, my best wishes to those celebrating the Day of Vesak, and my sincerest hope that the teachings of Buddha will foster peace and mutual respect in the hearts of every person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Takeshi. And I myself have visited a number of Buddhist temples in Japan. Thank you very much for that. I now have the honor to invite next speaker, Ambassador Ariel Naranda from the Philippines. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Chindawongse, Ambassador Pieris, for spearheading this year's International Day of Vesak. Excellencies, venerable monks, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship. These wise words of the Buddha continue to resonate in a fast-evolving global environment. Today, the Philippines is honored to join the community of nations in celebrating this auspicious occasion. 23 years ago, member states adopted UN Resolution 54/115, recognizing this important and sacred event. The Philippine government, consistent with its national policy of fostering interfaith dialogue, issued Proclamation 24, declaring the full moon day of May of every year as Vesak Day. The Buddhist faith of the Mahayana tradition was introduced between the 7th and 13th centuries and is practiced today in the Philippines. We rank 20th in the world in terms of Buddhist population. For being comparatively small, the Buddhist community in the country is among the most vibrant. For one, it stems from the easy inclusiveness and religious acceptance in Filipino society. We celebrate Vesak with the bathing Buddha to remind us to cleanse or purify ourselves through 3 acts of goodness: think good thoughts, say good words, do good deeds. Excellencies, in line with the Culture of Peace agenda of the UN, the Philippines has partnered with Pakistan since 2004 in co-sponsoring an annual General Assembly resolution on the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue, understanding, cooperation for peace. Its premise is self-evident. Evil springs from ignorance. To understand all is to forgive all. And through our infinite capacity to do good and to take a leap of faith, we leave our comfort zones to enter into landmark agreements and partnerships, from climate action and migration to peacekeeping and promoting the rule of law, among others. And as we continue to nourish peace inside and around us during this time of great adversity, may the teachings of Buddha continue to transform our world into one of compassion, cooperation, and constancy. Let us continue to aspire for a world with balance, healing, and benign purpose. I thank you, Excellencies.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ariel. Compassion, cooperation, very important principles indeed. I now have the honor to invite the next speaker, Ambassador Han-Sun Oh of the DPR of the Republic of Korea. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador Pieris and Ambassador Chindawong for organizing this event to celebrate International Day of Vesak. I'm honored to join this celebration, and I'm personally glad to meet Ambassador Chindawong again in New York, albeit in virtually, after our co-work years back in Thailand and Bangkok and in Seoul. I know that this Vesak Day honors the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha, but I also wish to commemorate the countless contributions of Buddhists around the world in building a more inclusive and peaceful future for all of us. Korea is a multi-faith nation, but for most of the Korean people, including my own mother, Buddhism isn't even greater than a religion. It is a foundational spirit embedded in our culture, as well as an important facet of our own national identity. Buddhism has long been a key support in helping Koreans overcome numerous hardships, including the latest COVID-19 pandemic. For both Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike, we are deeply inspired by the teachings and messages of the Buddha, which focus on humanity's core virtues, including peace, harmony, compassion, and selflessness. And such lessons are even more relevant today at a time when we are faced with a complex set of interconnected challenges posed by ongoing pandemic, war, economic crisis, and climate change. I'm confident that the spirit of Buddhism will continue to provide a steadfast courage and confidence for humanity to persevere over such challenges, and will also flow on to our future generations. In this connection, my government also greatly hopes that, guided by the timeless teachings of Buddhism and Buddha, we can ultimately establish sustainable peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula, as well as harmony, cooperation, and peace and prosperity around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Hansu, for your kind words. And it is indeed a pleasure and honor to see you again, even though virtually. Thank you very much. I will now give the floor back to my senior brother and co-host Mohan to introduce the next group of speakers.
Thank you, Ambassador Surya. May I have the honor to call upon Minister Councillor and the DPR of the Lao PDR, Wilalak Senen Duangjet, to make his observations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Most Honorable Bang, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, on behalf of the permanent mission of the Lao PDR, I wish to extend our warmest greeting and the best wish to all Buddhist and non-Buddhist fellows worldwide of this auspicious occasion of the celebrating the International Day of Vesak. Allow me to join other previous speakers in expressing our sincere appreciation to all of you, and the wish to thank to the permanent representative of Sri Lanka and Excellency Permanent Representative of Thailand for co-hosting this event virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. I also would like to express my sincere thanks to the President of the General Assembly and His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand, as well as Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Sri Lanka for their meaningful message that make the Vesak celebration more meaningful. The Day of Vesak is most success and significant non-even Buddhist community around the world, as we commemorate on the that very same day the birth, attainment, and enlightenment and passing away of the Buddha. It is my great pleasure to virtually join million others in celebrating this auspicious event. This annual observance provide all Buddhists and facilitates opportunity to pay homage to the Buddha and reaffirm their devotion to his teaching, and underscore the principle of non-violence and peace, love, and compassion, tolerance, and understanding, truth, and the wisdom, respect, and regard of all life and freedom from the selfishness and preached by the Buddhas. For more than 2 decades now, through the adoption of the General Assembly Resolution 54/115 in the year 1999, the United Nations has acknowledged the contribution that Buddhism has made for over 2.5 millennia and continue to make the human spirituality. Therefore, the annual observance of the International Day of Vesak here at the United Nations remain relevant and imperative, even being half virtual this year's celebration. Your Excellencies, the United Nations Day of Vesak celebration is not only reaffirm the United Nations strong commitment to the principle of respect for the diversity, but also promotes greater respect and tolerance, peace, and mutual understanding among humankind. It is also a true reflection of core value and of the international community and the United Nations. Buddhism has played a very crucial role in every aspect of life and the culture of the Lao people, becoming an institution of the national heritage and the culture as well as promoting non-violent, peaceful coexistence, morality, and mutual understanding and respect among people of various ethnic groups. Thus contributing to the maintenance of peace and social order, as well as well-being of the Lao people in our society. As Excellency, as the international community strive to overcome this global public health crisis, economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, increasing intolerance, violence, and suffering, the Buddhist approach to solve the global crisis, especially the noble virtue of compassion, tolerance, and understanding, are more essential than ever. We affirm belief that by continue upholding our common responsibility and morality, we must act individually and collectively to promote multilateralism, global solidarity, and international cooperation. In conclusion, I wish this celebration of this remarkable sacred Vesak Day will inspire all of us to follow the wisdom and teaching if the Buddha in promoting peace, compassion, tolerance, and to end the racial discrimination, intolerance, violence, misunderstanding, and human suffering. So our world will be more peaceful and better place for the entire human race. Happy International Day of Vesak. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Wilelak, for those very kind observations that you made. Can I now call upon the Deputy Ambassador of the Russian Mission, Ambassador Anna Estegniva, to make her observations. The floor is yours, Ambassador.
Venerable monks, distinguished co-chairs, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate a sacred day for the millions of Buddhists around the world, Vesak Day. Back in 1999, the General Assembly of the United Nations confirmed the decision to observe this day internationally. And this decision aimed at accentuating the history-making importance of Buddhism for development of the human civilization. Throughout centuries, this day unites all Buddhists, symbolizing hope, expectations, striving for harmony and purity of thoughts. Unfortunately, in the 21st century, many people on our planet live in materialistic world and often forget about spiritual values, those which served as pillars of humanity during last several thousands of years. We should not forget that answers to many of our questions could be found in moral values and ethical ideals, which are fundamental for the human life. Time shows that the profound truths of Buddha, delivered several thousand years ago, are still valid and serve as guidance today. In this vein, the spirit of the Vesak holiday is able to motivate the humankind to resolve many pressing issues of today. Besides, Buddha, being passionate himself in science, showed us a unique example of combination of spiritual and scientific development. Buddhism is one of the numerous confessions in Russia where this holiday is observed by the Buddhist Sangha. Over 4 centuries, one of the oldest world religions is practiced by indigenous people of my country, Buryats, Kalmyks, Tuvinians, and many others. Today, there are over 1 million Buddhists in Russia, with more than 200 Buddhist religious organizations officially registered. In this regard, I would like to emphasize the unique experience of my country in the field of promoting interreligious dialogue. For many centuries, Orthodox Christians, Muslims, Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and of course Buddhists of Russia have been coexisting peacefully and developing their motherland hand in hand while preserving and disseminating sacred traditions of respect and mutual understanding. Philosophy and spiritual practice of Buddhism greatly influenced national identity, ways of life, traditions, and customs of its followers. Buddhist culture became an integral and valuable part of historic and cultural heritage of Russia. Let me wish all of us a happy Vesak Day.
Thank you, Ambassador Anna. And now I have our final speaker, the expert from Malaysia Mission to the United Nations, Mr. Nizam Faraz Rizal. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Pieris. Mr. Co-Chairs, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to take this opportunity to wish Happy Vesak Day to all celebrating this holy day. I also join others in expressing gratitude to the permanent representatives of Sri Lanka and Thailand, the co-chairs of this Vesak Day celebration, and all committee members for organizing today's important commemorative event. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we join our Buddhist friends to honor the birth, enlightenment, and passing of Gautama Buddha. In the challenging environment faced by our world today, the common values of Buddhism of peace, harmony, service, and recognition of common humanity are of great importance and should be embodied by all. As you all know, Malaysia is a multicultural and multi-religious country where people practice different faiths, beliefs, and religions. Approximately 20% of the 32 million population of Malaysia practices Buddhism. As a sign of respect and to honor our Buddhist population, the Holy Day of Vesak is celebrated in Malaysia and has been declared a public holiday since 1962. This is testament to Malaysia's long history of tolerance, respect, and close interaction among peoples of different faiths and cultures. We remain convinced that celebrating our diversity is key, not only in promoting mutual understanding, harmony, and unity, but also in ensuring inclusivity and sustainable development among our people. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I reiterate Malaysia's continued support towards the annual observance of Vesak here in the UN, which serves as a reminder to all of us on the importance of promoting understanding among people of different cultures, religions, and civilizations, in the spirit of peaceful coexistence and international cooperation in pursuing our common agenda towards achieving a better and resilient world for our people. I thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Rizal. If there's anyone whom we have accidentally left out or wishes to make an intervention, we'll be happy to hear you right now. You may have the benefit of taking the floor. In the absence of anyone wanting to take the floor at this point in time, may I hand over the floor to my dear friend, Ambassador Surya.
Thank you, Ambassador Mohan. Just like to thank you once again for all of you for joining us on this International Day of Vesak. And I'd like to give our appreciation, of course, to you, Ambassador Mohan, and your team for organizing this event today and making it a success. And on this Vesak Day, let us recall Lord Buddha's teachings and how they could be applied in our lives and communities at all levels. And with the combined power of compassion and solidarity, I trust that all of us, we can work together to be able to overcome the various shared challenges that we face today, including the pandemic and also what lies beyond. So thank you very much. These are all I have to say in my closing remarks after what has been a very wonderful ceremony and sharing of thoughts from all of us. So I'd like to give the floor back to you, Ambassador Mohan, for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Ambassador. Venerable Mahasangha, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for participating in this very auspicious event where we commemorate a day that has much significance to the global challenges the international community faces today. It also has special resonance from my own fellow Sri Lankans who are presently experiencing turbulent times. I sincerely hope the participants at this program have experienced moments of peace from these proceedings, although briefly. Permit me to leave you with a stanza that encapsulates the teachings of the enlightened one left us, which we can treasure for all time. It goes this way: Sabba papasa akaranam, kusalasa upasampada, sachitta pariyodappanam, etham buddhanusasanam. which simply translates itself to mean where the Enlightened One is asking us to refrain from immoral deeds, refrain from immoral words and thoughts, and embrace moral deeds, words, and thoughts, and to follow the precepts that have been left behind for us by the Enlightened One. So finally, I take this opportunity to thank my colleague and friend, Ambassador for Thailand, Ambassador Surya, and his staff and his members of his mission and his team at the Thai mission for all the help and cooperation extended in making this event a very meaningful one. And please accept, Ambassador, that wish from the bottom of the hearts of all of us here at the Sri Lankan mission. And finally, may I thank all of you who participated in this program with us. A very happy Vesak. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Ambassador Mohan.
Thank you, Ambassador.